Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome back. It's Thursday Morning Live. Boy, it is. It's been. I feel like it's been a few weeks since I've been here live, but been on vacation, just kind of getting back in the swing of things. It's great to be back, though. I just want to say hi to everybody who is online this morning, and if you're not online this morning and you're listening to this later, welcome. Glad that you are tuning in. If you're new to the show, we're here every Thursday morning live. The focus is to bring on a Chicago-based entrepreneur, somebody who owns a business in the Chicago market, not necessarily real estate. That's my focus. That's what I do on a daily basis. But this morning we'll have a guest. We're going to talk a little bit about real estate. We're going to talk about some of those things that you maybe don't want to talk too much about. So so if you're new, subscribe to the show. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like us, love us, tell somebody about us, because we're always trying to bring some good content, some good information, things that are going to help you learn about being an entrepreneur and grow your business a little bit more. So I want to talk to you about being intentional this morning. What are you being intentional about? How'd you start your day? What was your daily routine like? And what is your focus for today? Big question. Are you still on track to hit your goals this year, or have you let them wane already and kind of go to the side? So just some things to think about for yourself. So glad you're here. If you have comments, if you want to say something, throw your name in the chat. Let us know where you're from. If you have questions for our guests this morning, throw those in the chat. We'll try and get those answered for you as well. My guest this morning, though, a Chicago-based entrepreneur, been in the property management business for about 13 years. Jason Marcordes. He's with Landmark Property Management, or I should say owns Landmark Property Management. And he has a very good sized portfolio. So I think that you're in for a surprise this morning. Let's bring Jason in. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I was on vacation last week, and it's kind of interesting because I just spent a week in the sun and on the beach and in the water, just having a good time. And this morning, looking out my window at the snow and the dreariness, I'm like, oh God,
Welcome back.
I maybe should have waited one more week to go on vacation, right?
Right.
So Jason, one question I always ask my guests when I start my shows is, in one word, what best describes you personally and professionally?
That's a tough one. I would say 2 words, one phrase: growth oriented.
Okay.
Always looking to get better, whether it's personally or professionally, whether it's diet, fitness, or just trying to read, trying to watch podcasts and stuff like that. I'm just always trying to learn something, get better. Same thing with business. We're always trying to take a look at what we're doing and break it down and rebuild it better.
Yeah. So, I find it interesting, and you said a couple of things along the way here, but I always say we don't grow professionally unless we grow personally. And when we talk about, and you talking about getting better and improving, do you separate the two? Do you separate your business growth from your personal growth at all?
That's interesting. I do, just on the basis of goals and, but especially when you're an entrepreneur, when you own your own business, it's all intertwined anyways. Your nutrition, your fitness, and your business just go hand in hand. So at the end of the day, it's very much one and the same, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of, I like what you just said, when you're an entrepreneur, it's all intertwined. I mean, it becomes your whole world, your whole life. You eat it, breathe it, drink it, sleep it. It's,
no doubt about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, Jason, talk about your background a little bit. What, how you got involved in property management, real estate, what gets you in this crazy world. So,
sure. Yeah. So I've been in property management for about 13 years now, managed over 3,000 doors. I've been with a couple different companies, and I think at the peak, I was managing about 1,600 properties. Of course, had a team underneath me. helping me. And then about 4.5 years ago, I started Landmark. So it's been an incredible journey of learning, single family, then to multifamily, from suburbs to the city. And now, again, the last 4.5 years, not only property management, but actual the business side of it. What I didn't realize when I started Landmark is there's a lot more to it than just knowing your craft. There's the actual business side. There's the hiring, and there's the P&L and the bookkeeping and everything else that goes with owning a business. So it's been an incredible journey. I've learned so much, made so many mistakes, but man, it's fun. It keeps you on your toes for sure.
Don't you find that the best education is those mistakes you make?
Absolutely. I mean, the best education, again, I love podcasts and books and all that stuff, but the best education is just taking action. And, regardless of whether you're successful or not the first time, like you learn so much from those mistakes.
Yeah. I do some coaching, and one of the things that I really try to work with people on is getting them taking the action, doing the activities, because you're right. That's the only way we learn, right? So you've got to kind of push people, give them a task or an assignment to work on, whether it be go find a deal or underwrite a deal or meet this person, and then hold them accountable to that. And I think that's where the growth comes from. That's certainly what happened in my life with coaching. And I think that's a big part of education.
For sure. I think the book is Atomic Habits. They talk about just take one tiny little step. If you're talking fitness and let's just say push-ups, don't focus on trying to do 100 in one day. Start with one. And then, the next day do 2. And it's just that constant taking action. It creates habits that are going to take you toward your goals.
Yeah. So, the other thing I really you caught me on here is the entrepreneur world. I remember before I even went into real estate, I had a general contracting business. And I remember waking up one morning, just being so burnt out, going, I can't do this anymore. Because, you're handling all the marketing, the sales, the bidding, the contracts, hiring, the firing, the bookkeeping, and I was still in the field banging nails. And it's like, how do you do that? So, you burn out eventually unless you learn how to have great habits, like he talks about in Atomic Habits. And the other book is Not How, But Who.
And Not How. Fantastic book. One of my favorite books of all time.
Yeah. Because we got to delegate, right? I mean, we don't get anything done, or there's no business growth unless we delegate.
So. I think it's easy. It's a tough. I think a lot of people think just like I thought. Hey, I'm pretty good at property management. I've managed thousands of doors. I know what I'm doing. But then again, you start your own business, and there's a whole different side that you're not familiar with. And I see this a lot with contractors for sure. You could be an amazing plumber, electrician, but when it comes to like actually running the business and answering the phones and scheduling and getting bids out in a timely fashion, like that's just not your specialty. But it seems like a lot of people don't know that there's help out there, that there's coaching, that there's other programs that you could plug into that teach you all this. I've been fortunate to, tap into a lot of that. I have multiple coaches and masterminds and stuff like that, and mentors that have helped tremendously. But it's so important to tap into that and then start to take that intentional action you're talking about and starting to hire and delegate those tasks.
So in the spirit of being an entrepreneur, business owner, running a business, in the last 90 days, what's one thing that you've learned that you was kind of an aha moment for you? You're smart, you're laughing already.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. So we run on EOS. I'm sure you're familiar with Traction. And I've read the book probably 4 times by now. I'm in a EO, which is has a huge is influenced by EOS, and every time I read the book, I learn more and more. So just recently we had our annual meeting, so I was kind of prepping for that. I went back and read a couple chapters that talked about the annual planning. So really just how important that strategic thinking and like the bigger level, higher level thinking, and not only from an individual standpoint, but we have a leadership team of 4 people total. So it's not just Jason's ideas. It's, hey, let's open this up to the whole leadership team, and let's get input from everybody. And then not only that, once we have those discussions and set goals and set our priorities for the year and everything like that, is how do we convey that to the rest of the team? So that was a big takeaway for me, because in the past, it's like, okay, here's our goals, and we almost keep it secret as a leadership team, what the objectives are this year, or for the year. So this year, I basically took all of that, I put it into a little slideshow, and we had a what we call all hands on deck meeting, which is the whole company, and I was able to present that and say, hey, here's where we're going in 2023. Here's where we were in 2022. We had a great year. We grew by 35%. Everybody did a phenomenal job. But here's where we're going in 2023. And I was able to basically, get everybody pointed in the right direction. And that was awesome. It was, I didn't quite know how the team was going to receive it, because a lot of times people don't like meetings, and it's like, oh, here we go again. Jason wants to have another meeting. But it was great. Everybody was pumped up about it and excited for some of the new stuff we're getting into, and just to really tackle a new year.
Yeah. So did you ever read the book Death by Meeting?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it, but yeah, that book is, I like meetings. So
I've had a pretty large company in the past, and I can remember walking into some meetings going, how many of these do we need to have?
Right.
Because somebody on my management team would call a meeting for this or call a meeting for that. And I'm like, you guys figure it out,
Yeah. We do have a lot of meetings, but we try to keep them short, as short as possible. And we try to, abide by the 2 pizza rule, and they're smaller meetings. Anyone who, if the content of the meeting isn't applicable to that person or their role, then there's no reason to have them there. We don't want to waste anybody's time. So, it's a fine balance, because communication, especially the larger you get, it's so important. But again, death by meeting. I mean, you don't want, and honestly, before, it's an interesting point. Before we started running EOS, probably 3 years ago, we only had monthly meetings, and I got to a point where I would cancel the monthly meetings, because I'm like, I don't know why we're meeting. I was just pulling things to talk about. Hey, we're going to, we focus on this and that. And now we have weekly meetings and monthly meetings and daily huddles. And we have plenty to talk about. It's each meeting is very fruitful, and it's good.
Yeah. And obviously it's helped, because you're managing a pretty large portfolio now that you've been growing, and it's growing. I believe that you really like multifamily management versus the residential or one-off deals. Is that correct?
It depends. So in the suburbs, what we see is like, a lot of single family home, a lot of condo, condo management, just because our pricing structure, it works better with that. In the city, if depending on the rents, we do quite a bit of small multifamily stuff.
Now, a lot of people might not know this, but I want to just explain this. You said condos and management. So, there's 2 types of management around that, right? We have HOA, Homeowners Association management, and we have property management. Do you manage homeowner associations, or is that a no-go for you?
We do not. So that's a great point. That is absolutely true. So 2 types of management. There's the actual individual condos, which we do manage. So if we have maybe it's an accidental landlord, they're getting a job transfer out to Boston or something, they will contact us and say, hey, I got this condo. We would like it. We want you to rent it, collect the rent, manage any kind of maintenance concerns or anything like that. That is what we do. We do not do the HOA management, which is like all the common areas and everything. we don't do that. And if any property managers are are listening and would do HOA management, please contact me. We're always looking for referrals. I referred at least 500 units last year plus. I mean, lots and lots of business that I refer out on the HOA side. We're always getting leads for that.
Yeah, that's there's a couple of companies in Chicago that have large portfolios, 25, 30,000 units that they manage on the HOA side. And, I took on when I vertically integrated my property management company a number of years ago, I remember taking on a 1,000 unit HOA, and, it was a nightmare for a year. I couldn't wait till the contract was over to get out of it. So that just, I guess when you're in a space, in a zone that you really enjoy, you really like, and you're focused on that, you get better at that, and something else distracts you. It's the same way in the multifamily business for me. When somebody says, "Oh, hey, I have an affordable housing deal." Well, I won't look at it. It doesn't meet my traps. I can't check the boxes on it because I'm a market rate rent guy. Right. And I like C and B product, market rate rent. So, when you stay in your lane, so to say, you get better at it. And I think that your investors, the people you manage for, appreciate that more. Hey,
absolutely.
So let's talk about this. We know you got a pretty good sized company. Let's talk about your team, about your staff. Who's around you on a daily basis helping you?
That is a great question. So on the property management and brokerage side, we have 14 total, including me. We all work remote, which is pretty, it used to be unique, but since COVID, it's definitely more common now. About half the team is international. So we have a portfolio structure. I don't know how detailed you want to get here.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with. So
cool. So basically, again, portfolio style. We have a director of property management who handles a lot of the high level stuff, and then that's the property management side. And then on the operations side, we have a operations manager out of Peru. She's phenomenal. I think she is a engineer by degree, super smart. She loves breaking down processes and rebuilding them. And she's the one that's making sure that everything's kind of working and flowing smoothly. We have a maintenance coordinator on that side, 2 maintenance guys. On the property management side, we have what we call owner relations. She's the main point of contact for all of our owner clients. And then we have on that side, we have the leasing department. So we have director of leasing and then a couple leasing agents as well.
Interesting. And in those meetings you have every day, do you kind of just sit back and listen, or are you actually engaged enough where you're leading the meeting, or does your staff lead the meeting?
So I do not attend the daily huddles. Okay. It's really tough for me. My schedule is it's different. Today I'm with you this morning. So like tomorrow, who knows where I'll be, or yesterday I was having coffee with an investor. So we have basically, we break it down into 2 different sides, the property management side and the operations side. It's all property management at the end of the day, but one is more process and system focused, where the other one is more situational, more based on individuals scenarios with tenants or situations like that. So we have the property management side and the operations side, both daily huddles. I think probably maybe 5 or 6 people in each huddle, and then I'm present in the L10s, our weekly meetings, but our director of property management runs that. I run the monthly leadership meetings and the all hands on deck meetings still.
Okay. Interesting. So I want to ask about leadership style, but before I do, I just want to say hi to everybody who's online this morning. If you have a comment or a question, don't hesitate to throw that in the chat. Jason is looking for opportunities to manage your real estate if you are in the Chicago market and you're looking for a good property management company. So reach out to him as well. I want to talk about your theory or your philosophy about leadership. Can you sum up your leadership thoughts?
You know what? Have you listened to $1 Trillion Coach?
I have not.
Or read? Okay, so it's about. Gosh, I wish I could. Maybe I shouldn't reference this because I can't name his name. But it's about a guy out of Silicon Valley who he mentored, Larry Page and some of the Steve Jobs and some of the biggest tech guys out there. So I would say I have a very similar style in the fact that really it starts like on a personal, individual basis, being a friend and mentor to your staff, a coach to your staff. And we start every meeting, regardless of what the meeting is or how long it is, and how many people are in it. Even our all hands on deck, we spend 20 minutes going from person to person, talking about both personal good news and business good news to just build rapport and strengthen our relationship. We do a lot of extracurricular activities, I guess. We do, a trivia. It's all online for the most part. We do, trivia night. We'll do a happy hour once every couple weeks and stuff like that. We're not talking business. We're talking family. We're talking, what's going on this weekend, and just strengthening relationships. We have an awesome team, and it comes down to the individuals and how we get along, and just. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, but it's super cool.
Do you know who John? Oh gosh, now I can't think of his name. Big leadership coach, wrote a ton of books. John Maxwell. John Maxwell. Sorry.
Okay.
Went brain dead for a minute. Have you heard of John Maxwell?
I have. Yeah.
He's written like 80 books on leadership.
Yep.
And what I like about his style is that he teaches you to lead from within. So encourage the people that are leaders in your company to lead and be bigger leaders, and teach them to do the same thing. That's how you create good leaders. In my experience in the past has always been to get those people to, it's like I have an underwriter that I work with, and I always teach him, I say, look, if you have to walk into a board meeting and talk about this deal, why do you like this deal? And just try to get people to lead more and to do more. I think it strengthens the organization. And I really like what you said about, caring about them personally, because Dale Carnegie said, nobody really cares what you know till they know how much you care. So
yeah, absolutely, that's true. We also we're very open. I don't know if you've read Ray Dalio's principles about a meritocracy. We're very transparent. We're very open. We try to be kind and say things in tactful ways, but we don't necessarily hold anything back. We do, hold everybody accountable, which I think is important. But at the same time, we are totally understanding of everybody makes mistakes. We tell everybody this, whether you've been with us for a day or for, 4 years, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes every day. Just own it, learn from it, and let's try not to do it again. So I think that's important too. And just as leaders, we try not to provide answers as much as we provide, or we try to ask questions and provoke, meaningful thought and just, how do we, Jesus, I'm losing my words, but how do we promote our employees, our team members to come up with their own solutions, and think for themselves and not always have to rely on the boss, so to speak.
Yeah. I always tell my staff, hey, it's okay to come to me with a problem, but when you do, come to me with 3 solutions. Let's talk about the solutions. We'll figure it out.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
It's interesting. So, hey, so I'm going to ask just kind of out of the box question here. what's one thing about property management you don't like?
That is a tough question because there's so many things. No, I'm just kidding. You can be put in some really tough situations. Between the owner and the tenant, where sometimes we're just stuck in the middle. And it's like, man, it's really tough to appease everybody here. It is a little bit of a thankless job. We don't really, our tenants don't reach out and say, hey, thank you so much for collecting my rent. It's usually, they're reaching out because, for whatever reason, we didn't, they have a complaint of some sort. And it's the same thing on the owner side. Excuse me. We have some amazing owners, but most of the time we hear, for whatever reason, if there's a complaint or something like that. So that is, probably the thing that I
Yeah.
don't care for.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's that part of the business, the multifamily investment, whether you're an owner operator or even a limited partner doing passive investing into a deal, it's the part of the business that doesn't get talked about a lot, right? Because who really wants to talk about the hard stuff? And it is the hard stuff. It's your company or a company like yours that does a great job, that keeps the investments operational, keeps the investments profitable, and keeps them growing. And if we're buying real estate to add value to it, whether it's physical or operational, you need somebody who's going to do that. And it's just unfortunate that it doesn't get talked about all the time, and needs to be talked about more, I think.
For sure. I agree. And on a related note, if I were to give any advice today, I would say if you are buying real estate, if you're planning on buying real estate, please run that investment by a local property manager. So your broker may be an amazing person, but he is getting a commission for selling this. And even with the best of intentions, he is very transactional. He or she, the broker, is very transactional. So they see the property usually in its best light, they sell it, and then they don't, they walk away and don't necessarily deal with the day-to-day stuff. A property manager is going to typically shoot you straight because they are in it for the long haul. They have to be there day in, day out, deal with the unpaid rent and the evictions and the maintenance costs and stuff like that. So I would highly, highly suggest, prior to purchasing a property, if your broker brings you a smoking deal, run it by a local property manager who can take a look at those numbers and say, hey, in this area, you are not going to get a 12 cap or whatever the case may be. We see a lot of people do the opposite. They will buy the 12 cap, bring it to a property manager and say, hey, make this work. And it's just, it's not possible at that point, and it's already too late. So I would say, definitely reach out to, whether it's me or a different property manager, depending on the area, prior to making that investment. I think that is so, so important, especially if you're from out of town. A lot of our clients are from California and New York, and they're not familiar with the different areas and of Chicago and the different things that are involved in managing property here.
Yeah, that's very true. So flip side, what's the one thing you really like about the business?
I do love building the business. I love working with our team. Our team's phenomenal. It's so much fun, just growing with them. I mentioned growth oriented. It's one of my personal core values. It's also one of our company core values. So we're always looking to see, how do we get better as a company, as individuals, as a team. So it's fun. Building the business is awesome. I love it.
Where do you like to focus business wise? Are you geographic to just the south side of Chicago, north side? What do you like to focus on?
So we have basically two different portfolios. We manage in the southwest suburbs. So think like DuPage and Will County. And then we also manage around the downtown area. So think like Hyde Park, Bronzeville, and basically just make a C around the city. So Bridgeport up to Pilsen, Wicker, Logan, and over to Lakeview, Lincoln Park, all those areas. So we try to stay within like a 4 to 5 mile radius of downtown.
Awesome. Okay, good. And then, I appreciate your time, and I'm just looking at the clock here saying, wow, I know we need to get going, but 2 last questions. Best restaurant in Chicago?
Best restaurant in Chicago. Oh my gosh. That is so tough. My wife and I we're foodies. We love to eat. Gosh, I can't pick one. I will tell you, Bivet's is phenomenal. If you like steaks, Smith & Wolinski's also phenomenal. If you like different, like cultural type stuff, we were just at Carnival for Restaurant Week last week. Phenomenal, amazing, like South American type food. My favorite neighborhood is Lincoln Square. My wife and I met there, and we lived there first few years that we were dating. Phenomenal food up there. If you like a good burger, to me, Gideon Wells has one of the best burgers in the city. So nice little Irish pub right there.
Man, you are a foodie. I asked for one. Boy,
gosh, I could talk food all day. I love eating.
Awesome. And then best tourist attraction around.
Best tourist attraction. I don't know what that is, but I can tell you a little hack. So a lot of people want to experience the views of Chicago. So they go to the sky deck in, I think, the Willis Tower, Sears Tower now. But it's expensive and it takes forever. So I send everybody to the signature room at the Hancock Building. You can usually get up there immediately. You go up, you grab one drink, hang out, you get the same views. Just awesome, beautiful views. So I like that. Man, I used to own a boat. If you can get on a boat for the Air and Water Show, it is the best experience.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks. Hey, I appreciate you being here this morning. Remember, if you know any other local entrepreneurs that would have an interest or benefit from this, I'd love the connection. How do people get a hold of you, Jason?
You can go to our website. It's chicagospropertymanagement.com. That's with an S. So chicagospropertymanagement.com. Or you can email me directly at jason@landmarkrgc.com.
Perfect. Hey, I appreciate you being here this morning. I'm going to move you to the back room. If you hang out with me for a minute, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. And
thanks, Mike.
Be right back. Thanks. Hey, everybody. That was Thursday Morning Live with Jason Marcordes with Landmark Property Management. And what a great show. We really kind of talked about being an entrepreneur and what that takes and some leadership ideas and some leadership thoughts. And we all know if we're running a business that leadership, how we lead, our style of leading, and the things that we do around that really dictate how our companies grow and how we can help them grow even more. One of the things that Jason and I did talk about this morning is coaching and his coaching background, his current coaches, my coaching background, and how I coach. And, if you are somebody who's looking to get in the multifamily business, if you are somebody who's looking for those property management ideas and skills and how to syndicate multifamily deals, hey, I have a group coaching program. We meet every Thursday at 2:30. If you have an interest in that, don't hesitate to go on to MikeMorawski.com/coaching and register and join us on Thursday afternoon. Once a week, we cover a myriad of topics. These next couple of weeks, we're talking about exit plan and how important having an exit plan before you even buy your deal or close your deal is, so that you know how you're going to run it and operate it along the way. So if you're looking for that, if you are looking for anything beyond that, we can have a personal conversation around it. So I'm glad that you're here. I look forward to Thursday every week. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a great week. Remember, Saturday, Multifamily Unplugged. always